Money grows, peace can grow. Minus that grow, only money grows.
What's up, YouTube fam? It's your boy KingMarcell, and we are back with another video. Today we got a video by a channel that I really love. I feel like this brother breaks down a lot of this deep information down so that people can really understand and digest it. The channel that I'm talking about is Truth Unedited, and the video that we're about to be checking out is Prince Hall Freemasonry, the unseen hand of Black America and the Black Church. We all know that the Black Church is heavily influencing the Black community as a whole. It has been since, I want to say, since we got out of slavery, and we know that the construct of the Black Church was constructed through slavery for us to look at Christianity through the white supremacy lens. And it's like we have sellouts that have been pushing that narrative all the way up into now to keep us easy to control and basically to keep the status quo going. So in order for things to unravel and for the truth to come out, you know what I'm saying, these topics of what these people believe and what they're doing has to come out. So shouts out to Truth Unedited for this video that we're about to check out. This brother has been doing this for years, so make sure you guys head over to his channel and give him a sub as well. The original video link will be down in the description, but we're about to get right into this. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so make sure you guys are subbing up and joining the kingdom. But with that being said, let's get into this.
What does Booker T. Washington, Thurgood Marshall, Richard Pryor, Sugar Ray Robinson, Nelson Mandela, Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Medgar Evers, King Cole, Reverend Calvin Butts, James Clyburn, Benjamin Crump, Elijah Cummings, Don King, Roland Martin, Michael Jordan, Ricky Smiley, Tom Joyner, Bill Cosby, and Steve Harvey all have in common besides being Black men. Well, if you looked at the title of the video, you figured out that they are all Prince Hall Freemasons.
But the thing about that is that, yeah, they're all Black men, but they are all from all different walks of life, different faiths, different experiences. But somehow they all are a part of this same program. And all of them just so happen to be predominantly famous and Black men that we look up to. Is that a coincidence? And that's a question that we have to start asking ourselves. Is this a shaped construct that they are putting before our eyes when we have selected leaders that further us in no way, shape, or form, that give us the illusion of progression? So, let's see.
We are in the month where America likes to say they're celebrating Black history. But while they speak on our history, the truth that's always given is always edited. For instance, if I told the story of Black people in America and left out their time in captivity being slaves, people would aggressively accuse me of leaving out or editing our history.
Right.
Yet, after slavery, the story of Black people in America has become seriously edited, and there's very little fuss about it.
Yeah.
Because most people just don't know. In everyone's eyes, we basically
and don't care.
To segregated, to fighting for civil rights, to prominent Blacks in all facets of the country, to now people claiming there's equality. That's the story that most people want to believe.
Change has come to America.
But the truth is that this version of history is extremely edited. There is something that must be understood in modern day Black history, particularly in America. Without it, you miss a very big side of history that will always leave you blinded and confused and led astray into rebellion. There is no modern day Black history without Prince Hall Freemasons. There is no Black History Month without understanding Prince Hall Freemasons. Mostly everything that we know today in our American Black culture has been cultivated and steered by Prince Hall Freemasons. They are literally an unseen hand of Black America. So we can no longer just go through the cycle of speaking about Black History Month and not discussing the real shakers of this Black history. We all need to know about Prince Hall Freemasonry. Let's begin.
If they have that type of influence that, you know what I'm saying, it's looking like they got, and we don't know all of the moving parts, we gotta know what the hell they doing. They having secret meetings behind closed doors and then just come out in front of us and just tell us, oh no, y'all, we ain't doing nothing crazy. Oh no, we don't worship Lucifer and this and that, but we don't know what they're doing behind closed doors because they are sworn to secrecy. If y'all ain't doing no wild shit, you wouldn't need to be sworn to secrecy. That's just me, you know what I'm saying? If it was on the up and up, righteousness ain't got to be done in the darkness. So
Maybe exactly.
I don't know what y'all getting yourselves into.
If you don't understand what Freemasonry is, I may speak about it specifically again. This video is not about the overall religion of Freemasonry. Once you understand the structure, the symbols, who they serve, and why, you can form your own educated opinion about the religion/organization. The unfortunate truth is that too many people form their opinions without this information.
Yeah.
Information is very important to know because if you do happen to step on this side of information and then recognize how much influence Freemasons have had on our culture and our way of life, how many prominent men of our society have been Freemasons, information may be used as a recruitment tool for them because they frame it all as accomplishments and stories of empowerment.
And not a power vacuum. Like it's not a power vacuum, a power structure, a pyramid scheme. Literally. Like literally that's what it is. Manipulation and control. But they feed it to you as achievements. Yeah, if you a part of this club, you're able to reach certain heights, certain doors open to you. Why? Fuck that. Yeah, if I join this club and certain doors go, why is that the case? And who the fuck is we serving that's gonna open up these doors? Who behind these doors that need to be open? Who the ones keeping them closed? Who the ones holding the opportunities away from everybody? These are the questions that we need to ask, and not how much ass kissing can we do to get to the top? How much wickedness and debauchery can I do to get to the top? How much selfishness and only worrying about myself can I do and worry about myself to get to the top? Those things have to stop because that's what's been fueling this again, this power vacuum of people thinking that they in control when really it's all manipulation and it's turning into brainwashing and blackmail for the ones who are really in control. That's hiding behind these ones who want this false glory.
Masonry, and then understanding the true bloodline of many of these men who became Prince Hall Masons, it moves from a vantage point of empowerment and success to just plainly selling out.
Yeah.
Our history today has made heroes out of those we should be looking at as villains. But again, this video is not about Freemasonry. We need to discuss the hidden role the religion/organization called Freemasonry has had on our society as a whole. Because whether you know it or not, Prince Hall Freemasonry is a backbone of the Black community. And even if you're not a part of the community, you must understand that there is an edited side of the story that they are not telling.
Yeah.
I'm sure many are not aware that in Black America, since the ending of the Civil War, Freemasonry was used as a tool for cultural improvement and advancement. It is what Blacks in America clung to as the source of equality, freedom, and justice. There will be no civil rights movement in America without Freemasonry. And maybe your initial thought is to cheer them on for it.
Right.
What if these goals and movements were less about equality and freedom and more about rebellion, walking away from our creation?
Exactly.
A different form of slavery.
And changing our fucking race and what we are. I'm sorry, excuse my French. But changing who we are. Because now we saying that we followed the Pan African movement and then start calling ourselves African when we was from the United States the whole time, and that most of us were damn near Native American Indians who are descendants from the children of Israel. But we got morphed into believing this lie that has come from this. And if I'm correct, and if he done the same type of research that I've done, that's what this video is about to come to the same conclusions, because that's what happened. They morphed us, they changed us, they started calling us black, colored, all the things except for our God-given names, and then stole our land. And it's not going to continue. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know now.
Like I said earlier, the story of Black America cannot be accurately and fully told without recording the impact that Prince Hall Freemasonry had upon Black society. Behind nearly every pivotal turn in the history of Black America, Prince Hall Freemasons may be found, especially in the Black church. A source that I'm going to be using from this book is a book from David Gray titled Inside Prince Hall. The foundation of Prince Hall Freemasonry was laid between 1775 and 1847. On March 6, 1775, 15 civilians were initiated in the Freemason Grand Lodge of Ireland,
And who were they?
441, which had a lodge chartered in Boston, Massachusetts. These 15 men were Negroes from the Boston area. One of them was named Prince Hall. Now, it's important to know, it wasn't the American Freemasons who initiated these men, but the lodges in England. In 1776, during the War for Independence between America and England, the 15 black men, including Prince Hall, formed themselves into a lodge which was called African Lodge No. 1, under the leadership of Prince Hall. There is a 300-page book known as Prince Hall's Letter Book, which provides much of the records about all of this and how the African lodges grew and spread. African Lodge, under leadership of Prince Hall, was held in high regard in the general community, aside from the racists who opposed them because of their color and their race. The lodge was particularly attractive to leaders in the black community. It showed a different type of black man that was not seen in this country before then. Hall,
And it's like, why would you need to see a different type of black man in this country when you are a black man in this country and come from a line of black men that was from this country? Why would you need to have an outside source of that? Because they was trying to figure out how to steal the land. How can we trick these niggas into thinking they from somewhere else so that we can get this land? Because that obviously it don't matter what the hell, because they was ravaging us. They was giving us all type of diseases. They was murdering us at an alarming rates, and we was refusing to leave. They like, they not gonna leave. We still to this day ain't leaving. They still mad as hell we ain't leaving this motherfucker. We ain't going nowhere. Where we gonna go? This our place. This is our land. If you was to look up the who owns the most land in the United States, it's African Americans. It's not white people. It's not Asian people. It's not anyone else. We have the most land, but we've been brainwashed to thinking that we African. Google that, please. Let me down there and let me know in the comment section what you guys find when you Google that. What race owns the most land in the United States? But when you realize that our shit is being manipulated through K2V trust accounts that they try to make sure, trying to make it seem like don't exist through your birth certificate number, through your birth certificate and your social security number, and that they accessing that trust and stealing our land and using our land through states of emergencies because they don't have no grounds to even be here unless this deception keep going on. Until the real owners of this land say, this government is no longer needed to handle our affairs. We're big boys and big girls. We can handle our own affairs. That's what all of this is. But telling this to people and seeing how people willingly do mental gymnastics to make themselves feel like they need this government instead of taking accountability and understanding that we're going to have to create something else as a people and have to talk to each other and deal with each other respectfully and in honor. But for some reason, that's such a crazy way of thinking nowadays because we've been raised in so much wickedness and turmoil and to the point where we don't trust each other. But we think that the way to solve it is not by slowly trusting each other and being trustful. We think that it's keep going down the path of wickedness and solitude and selfishness is gonna get us out of the situation. It's asinine.
Two new lodges.
Sorry for that.
Rhode Island, and the
Had to
other
vent that.
Remember Philadelphia because they are important for another subject. African Lodge of Boston continued to meet and grow in numbers, and Prince Hall remained its master until his death on December 4th, 1807. Prince Hall was succeeded as master of African Lodge by Nero Prince. It is claimed that in 1808, representatives of the three lodges, African Lodge of Boston, African Lodge of Philadelphia, and African Lodge of Providence, met together and organized an African Grand Lodge with Nero Prince as the Grand Master, and they changed the name from African Lodge to Prince Hall Grand Lodge in memory of Prince Hall. And they started expanding, adding more lodges. And this was the foundation of what is now Prince Hall Freemasonry. Now, it's important to note that the Masons were not considered equal amongst their white brothers, and they were barred entrance as members in the great majority of white lodges. And this was a huge reason expansion was necessary. The lodge started to be used as an institution of union and social uplift in the black community. In a Masonic-run country, joining this institution seemed like a way of uplifting the black community and finding ties with their oppressors.
And I feel like it was to masquerade, to make it seem like that they were not one and the same. That basically that they had nothing to do with the white people who were practicing Freemasonry. To have plausible deniability. We're not working in tandem with each other. We're racist. We don't care what you guys do. We're barring y'all from Mars. But y'all, even though the black people couldn't go in there, you think white people wasn't allowed to come into Oz, into the white? Let me not say Oz because I'm not a Freemason. In that sense, let me say in the sense of how they're portraying Freemasonry. I'm not that type of Freemason. But when it comes to all of this deception and manipulation, they try to make it seem like they're not two branches of the same tree. Y'all taking your orders from the same place. And yeah, one side may not mess with the other side, this and that, but y'all all are working as a whole to push forward the same agenda. It's simple. But they do that, separate themselves in that way so that it's to wipe away the trail that or the tie that binds everything together. Plausible deniability.
They joined the great plan to serve the architect or god of Freemasonry. And that goal and alliance in the end superseded the hate because of their race or bloodline, because it was a clear declaration that they were on their side. But it's not like they did not deal with racism. To a great extent, the Prince Hall Masons were isolated from white masonry, although they seem to have learned and emulated many of the customs and usages of the neighboring lodges and grand lodges, so that they may speak in general terms of American Masonic practice, without having to distinguish between Prince Hall and mainstream when comparing other countries. The foundation that Prince Hall laid was the beginning of the rise of the Negro in America. Yet this story is seldom told in our history books and in our schools. I wonder why. If it was such a noble and admirable thing, why isn't it told? I digress.
Imagine being
Like literally.
anything just by thinking about
Why they hiding it from us if it was, you know what I'm saying?
There are a lot of details on how they grew and spread their membership around the country, but the details are inconsequential. They grew and gathered black men into their Masonic traditions. Here's the thing that needs to be understood. This is the foundation of where the confusion comes from in the black community. You look at the black community today and you see leadership in many different types of roles: business leaders, politicians, civil rights leaders, etc.
All controlled.
Not always so. If the white Masons were in power and they had a problem with even recognizing the Prince Hall Masons, then it's obvious that moving into these high roles in American society, it would have taken some time. What did the Prince Hall Masons do? Because they were still leaders in their own community. You see, there was a huge attachment to the black church, And if you ever want to understand how things are so bad in the church today, you should understand that from the start, when the foundations of the Negro church in America was being built,
Yep.
it was already contaminated. Many
By
of the black
these
churches across
people.
the country were being run by Freemasons.
Yes. And still are to this day.
It is a normal routine for the opening and closing prayers in a Prince Hall Lodge or social function to be ended in the name of Jesus, and to include other exclusively Christian phrases during the prayer. It is said that only the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of California practices a craft, that means Masonic, ritual, which actually mentions Jesus.
Witchcraft.
It is a normal routine for Christian hymns to be sung during the opening and closing and during...
Which is totally blasphemous. They are saying that they're doing witchcraft in the name of the Lord. This is blasphemy. Right in your face, and the people who do it and not recognize what it is because they've been taught a certain way. Some of them know. Some of them know. Some of them learn later on. But for the majority who are just coming in, they have no clue, because we, in this society, if you didn't have the right teacher, most of us were never taught the true gospel. We was taught it in a manipulative way, in a lie, in a deceitful way. When you understand that the slave masters only let us read literally not even half the Bible, not even half the Bible. They gave us only a couple pages and used that to manipulate all of us. And literally that same understanding from those only couple of pages is what modern day black people are basing their faith on, and not actually reading the book page by page. And I understand it's a long book. It's not even that long of a book. I read longer, but it's the fact that people can't take the time to read that book and really understand, but yet you're basing your faith on not only the afterlife, but how you're supposed to be living here, how you're supposed to be treating each other, how you're supposed to be treating your children, your husband, your wives, everything. You base your faith off of only a flaw in base understanding off of what somebody else is telling you, and not think to open the pages yourself. That alone should show us how far off we've gotten. We can't read a fucking book. It's too late at night for this. Oh my goodness. It shouldn't be like this.
It would not be unusual to hear or read of a Prince Hall Grand Master referring to the Prince Hall Masonic Order as a Christian organization, or members of the fraternity to say that only a good Christian can make a good Mason. Prince Hall Masons carry on in their religious manner, while at the same time they claim to adhere to Mackey's 25 landmarks and to the ancient charges of Anderson's constitutions. The 19th and 21st of Mackey's landmarks and the first of Anderson's charges concerning God and religion clearly speak of Freemasonry being a fraternity that is adaptable to man, regardless of his personal religion. And no Prince Hall Grand Lodge claims in its constitution to be exclusively a Christian Grand Lodge. I mean, there are some...
It's not.
Mainly Muslims.
This is about people going down the left-hand path.
Some of you are Masons, Shriners, studying the secret wisdom of God in your lodges. But your lodge is a little different from the white folks' lodge.
And they are accommodated at least to the extent of being able to use their own book of faith at the altar. It's ironic because in his book, The Secrets of Freemasonry, Elijah Muhammad writes, "A Mason cannot be a good Mason unless he knows the Holy Quran and follows its teachings."
And the reason he says that is because the archangel that Muhammad was following was Gabriel. And again, that's a point that I'm going to keep hammering every chance I get, that understanding that Gabriel is Lucifer, is Satan. And that's what they're following. That's why he said that. In order to be a good Mason, you have to know the Quran. In the Quran, the Jews, who are the so-called black people in America, asked Muhammad which archangel was he getting his visions from. And Muhammad told them, "Hey, y'all can ask any Muslim. Fact check this, Google it." Muhammad told them that he was receiving his visions from Gabriel. The Jews says that's how we know y'all are of wickedness, because we're not supposed to be taking the advice and the visions from Gabriel as gospel and truth. We're supposed to be taking it from the Archangel Michael. The Archangel Gabriel was a deceitful angel. That's in the Quran. That's why they said that. But people aren't understanding the knowledge. But again, that's the purpose of this channel, is to try to help bridge the gaps of this understanding. I truly believe, and again, this is just me, this could be just me, that the G in Freemasonry, yeah, they try to say it stands for geometry. They say it stands for a bunch of different things. I feel like what it truly stands for is the G of Gabriel. That the archangel that they are getting their wisdom from. And when you find out what the Archangel Gabriel's job was, it was creating the physical realm. Mother Earth, fertility, the fertility goddess. That's the Archangel Gabriel. And the fertility goddess in every religion is who they serve. That's why they can come in there with any religion. It's because they understand that all the religions are talking about the same thing. All the religions are talking about the left and right path. But the people who are a part of Freemasonry, for the most part, not all Freemasons, but for the most part, the ones who are gathering in these lodges, chose the left-hand path, chose the Archangel Gabriel instead of the Archangel Michael.
Book is the only book that will make a true Mason. The influence is everywhere. The point I'm making is that Masons have completely infiltrated the Black church.
Yes, they have.
Credibility to other churches in America because they have been infiltrated as well. And I believe this is even easier to tell. But this is something specific to the Black church, and it must be known because the Black church has always been the staple of the community. And there are things that our parents and our grandparents and great-grandparents just did not know because it was being hidden from them. Now, truth is, if they had actually followed the word and aligned it with what they were seeing from the pulpits and organizations, perhaps things wouldn't have gotten so crazy today.
It wouldn't have. It couldn't have.
This was not the case.
All they had to do was read the damn book, and we would not be in a lot of these situations. A lot of y'all wouldn't be in cults, thinking that you're not in cults. A lot of y'all wouldn't be partaking in these holidays, which are pagan holidays, because you will understand through the scriptures. Oh, that's a pagan holiday. God told us not to do that. But I claim to serve Jesus. I claim to serve the God that Jesus served. But yet I'm doing all the things that he said were disgusting and vile. It's like, we got to wake up.
There were many Masons in the church, and they had no problem speaking on Jesus, calling on his name, singing hymns,
right,
tithes, etc., which is pretty much the fruit that the Black churches look for when identifying a brother or sister in the faith.
So on behalf of myself and the St. Paul Church family, we would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Father, as we depart from this place, but never from your presence, we pray that the communion of the Holy Spirit will rest, rule, and abide with each.
And they do all this even though these Masons have taken oaths and pledges and done rituals that completely contradict the scriptures
exactly
that they believe in. Listen, if you're looking for someone to just say Jesus and say that they believe in him and sing some songs, you can easily be deceived.
Exactly.
You see, in the South, initially slaves were not allowed to hold any religious service on their own. Religious services were either held by some members of the master's household or they were done in secret, controlling what they knew or remembered from past generations. When slaves did become allowed to hold independent religious service, this became their first taste of freedom and independent thought.
Yep.
Except the false seeds were already planted in them by
exactly.
The church really
the brainwashing was already locked in. Everybody was already manipulated through generations of being told the gospel with only a couple pages. Slaves, obey your master. Don't read past this certain part in service. It was over time. It didn't just happen overnight, but people try to make it seem like these things happen overnight, and they didn't. It took time. At first, it couldn't. You got to think of it like this: 20 to 50 years went by. Black people couldn't. When slavery started, black people couldn't even have a service. Then they could only hear about master going to church. Then the next 50 years, they can start having their own service, but master has to teach them, and he's teaching them a watered down version, right? And then the next 50 years, now y'all can start having service, but the master has to be watching y'all give the service. You know what I'm saying? And if something happens or you say something to his liking that he don't like with Nat Turner, then your ass get hung and your ass get killed. You feel me? To set an example, that you stay in these parameters. And then another 50 years go by. Now the slave master only comes in once every few months. You feel me? To check in on what you're doing, to make sure that you're just still going on along with the brainwashing, to the point where he don't gotta come in at all no more. And you're just still going along with the same programming, like that experiment with the fleas with the lid on the jar. Fleas can jump higher than a human. They can jump hundreds of times their actual height. But if you put them in a jar and put a lid on them, just for 3 days, they will only, for the rest of their lives, feel like they can only jump as high as that jar. That's what they done to us. And where we fuck up at is that we let our pride get in the way and try to say, oh no, I ain't manipulated. Oh, I ain't brainwashed. Oh no, they ain't got control over me like that. Not even understanding you having that reaction proves the point that they got you. Proves the point that they got us. Now I'm trying to shake your ass awake and you're just resisting it because of some pride that you feel like you got that they took away from us, bro. They took that shit a while ago. We got to have these conversations to get it back. But if you can't even get past this part that you being manipulated, and that the shit you seen on TV, the shit that come on the radio is manipulation, and it's fine tuning your consciousness to make you think that you're making certain choices, but it's really putting you in a box of things that they are giving you to choose from, and that you don't have an original thought yet, then we gonna keep going in a circle. Because they got us a rat chasing its own tail.
For moral conduct and control for blacks. The seeds of deep loyalty to the church, not Yahuwah,
exactly,
were sown very early within the black community.
Yep.
Folk songs and Negro spirituals were the method by which the slaves attempted to find meaning for their lives, and at the same time escape their horrible existence.
Yep.
Their identity was wiped away from them and then reprogrammed back in with some crucial parts missing. Now, I'm going to go over the black church independently, but let me give you some facts here. In the late 1770s, the black church movement began with the founding of the first African Baptist churches in South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. A key factor in the Christianization of Prince Hall Freemasonry was the founding of the African Methodist Episcopal, AME Church in Philadelphia in 1816 by Richard Allen.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first national organization created by blacks. Richard Allen was a Prince Hall Freemason. The AME is a Masonic church organization. I don't know if you remember this, but during the time of President Obama, this is where he did the eulogy and told us what the black church really was.
The church is and always has been the center of African American life.
This damn devil.
Place to call our own in a too often hostile world.
It's just the fact, didn't he just come out a couple of days ago saying that every black boy growing up needs a gay man in his life? But he in a church acting like he like, bro, you just can't, like, y'all have to understand this is not a biblical order. This is not anything that these folks, the shit that they doing is paganism. It's Satanism. This isn't of God. This isn't of Christ. This is the opposite of it. Everything that these damn bastards are doing, they're sellouts, they're liars, they're deceivers. Remember, deceiver is a devil. Devil is deceiver. That's what this word means. Devil means deceiver. And all of these people have been tricking us. Read your Bibles.
A sanctuary from so many hardships. There have been and continue to be community centers where we organize for jobs and justice, places of scholarship and network, places where children are loved and fed and kept out of harm's way.
And then I'm talking about the kids and finding out all the stuff about Epstein.
And smart.
And spit on these people, man. These people got it coming.
That's what happens in church.
These people are insane. Insane.
The black church means.
And then sang Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace.
Just playing in our face.
How sweet the sound.
But this the man who said that we needed a gay man in our lives.
During Richard Allen's time,
Like, come
nearly
on,
every
bro.
black in the Philadelphia area was an African Methodist Episcopal Christian. Allen
Oh,
had
my
greater
goodness.
influence upon blacks of the North than any other man of his time. And of course, Prince Hall Freemasonry had a great influence on the growth and development of the AME Church. The black church in America has always been infiltrated by Masons, so there's no coincidence how over time the faith and truth has never really been presented. The leaders in the black communities have always been religious figures, and from the time of slavery until integration, all the black community had to lean on was the church and the lodge, and these
Yeah.
bodies often met in the same facility. This is the real truth about the black American experience. This is why we have seen so many of our leaders come out from the church. The Reverend Al Sharpton, Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Martin Luther King Sr., father of the civil rights leader, Jr., all Prince Hall Freemasons. Now, I've done a lot of digging to confirm Michael King, I do use his real name, if he was a Freemason. I was not able to confirm, but that is not an endorsement, just a part of him not confirming.
His father was. He could have just been keeping. He could have just been keeping going the agenda of his father. He's been doing what his father was telling him to do. Father didn't left him instructions and they trust, and he just followed it down to the T until he didn't, and then you know how that turned out.
A handler, and that was his father. And
Thank you.
his father was absolutely a Prince Hall Mason.
Exactly.
He spoke at many Freemason lodges. I'll bring him up later as well, though.
Hey, come on.
Either way, the point I'm making about the church is that it has been infiltrated, and they have used the church to push agendas that are contrary to scripture. When understanding the infiltration, it's no coincidence how we have gotten to the point that we are in today, with the church ready to accept a one-world religion. They have slowly mixed their Masonic teachings in with the church and have diluted Yah's word so that the faith today is unrecognizable to the masses. Now, don't get me wrong, the blame is not completely on the Masons, but you can definitely see how their influence has manifested and brought confusion and rebellion towards the Most High.
Damn sellouts. That's all that is.
His name is Dave.
Goddamn
There's
sellout.
probably no other branch of Freemasonry in the world so closely interwoven with the history of one race and one country as the Prince Hall Masonic Order. We all know that on July 4th, 1776, the leaders of this country issued a Declaration of Independence stating, 1. That all men are created equal and are endowed by the Creator with natural and inalienable rights which no man or government can bestow or take away. 2. That to secure these rights, men create civil communities and civil authorities who derive their just power from the consent of the governed. 3rd, that members of the community are colleagues and not subjects, and that legitimate government consists in the communion of equal laws applied equally. The sad part is that black slaves, to their detriment, actually felt that this declaration also applied to them. And so because of this belief, they rushed into action and began to organize the first phase of the black struggle to freedom. For many that really do not understand the full extent of the influence of the Prince Halls, it would probably surprise most that the black heroes that we hear of, many of them were Prince Hall Masons. Like
Most of
Philadelphia
them.
Freemason Benjamin Banneker, an accomplished mathematician and scientist who invented a clock, or W.E.B. Du Bois, another notable Freemason who was one of the founders of the NAACP, or Booker T. Washington, another notable Freemason who was an American educator, author, orator, and advisor to multiple presidents of the United States. He was a dominant leader in the African American community and of the contemporary black elite. Even Marcus Garvey, the man they want to claim as a liberator, all Freemasons. These men and many more were Masons. When researching this, it seems that if they had prominence in the 19th and 20th century, they held some type of tie with Freemasonry.
Even now,
These men and many more
never stopped. It's still happening right now.
They wanted to be looked at
Literally right now.
equal. Imagine they were sharing the secrets of the same group of men that once enslaved them.
Exactly, and
empowered and wanted rights and freedoms, and their push for integration swept.
And more than that, like fuck all that. They can want all that, because who wouldn't want all that? But the fact that you would sell out your own people to get it, though, you would do the same shit that was happening to you and understand what's happening now, and then choose to do it to your own people. Then it's fuck you. Then it's fuck you. You got a special place in hell for that. You got a special place in hell for that. That's what you got coming. And any one of y'all who do mental gymnastics, or any Freemason that watches this video, any mental gymnastics that you try to do to make it seem like, oh, you're gonna have a good time in hell with Satan, good luck to you.
Across the black community.
Good luck.
The way we're told that civil rights was wanted is because we wanted to eat at their restaurants. But that's just dumb. These are Masons creating their own narrative. So in order for them to be equal in their lodges, they had to do the bidding and bring the Negro into society and equality.
Exactly. Because again, like I said, we own the most land here.
There will be no civil rights movement without Prince Hall Freeman.
Around the same time, this is when birth certificates and they was a thing around this time during the civil rights movement. But again, it wasn't as many people that had them. You got to understand, the birth certificate system only started 20 years prior to the civil rights movement. During I want to say the Great Depression is when birth certificates, that was when they really started taking over in the United States, and people really started falling into that system. So it was just 20 years that went by. Everybody in the United States wasn't a part of it, but that's how they got black people to be a part of it and to come on board with getting the birth certificates and registering themselves in the hospital and registering their inheritance, their trust to the state instead of staying private. Because that's why our shit was supposed to be private, because that's how you are a sovereign. We gave away our sovereignty to them unknowingly. It's not legal. That's the main thing you're going to find out about this. The sovereignty that they are basing this false ass consent to have and run this country off of, it's not real. It's not legitimate. We didn't know. And that's a breach of contract. Authenticate your birth certificates.
To understand. And maybe your first instinct wants to be like, yeah, well, at least they did something good for us. Listen, as a believer in Yahuwah and your faith in him, in priority over your racial struggles, if you look now how they have used civil rights against us,
man, look crazy.
The things that are an abomination to the Most High, along with our civil rights,
LGBTQ rights, Black Lives Matter,
while also
using
tolerance for a blending of all world religions, most, I'm sure, would love to go back in time and tell them, don't do it. Well, that's how I feel. Anyways, these people sold us out. As I said earlier, our heroes of the past were Masons and had other purposes that were never revealed in the open. And this is what a Mason is. Their duty is to spread the light. So let's keep discussing
that. The light of who, though?
The slavery to freedom age
Whose
from
lights?
1800 to 1876 was crucial to the journey of Black America. And again, Prince Hall Freemasonry and Prince Hall Freemasons served at the core of the struggle. The founding of many universities and mutual aid societies for Blacks, financial institutions, the gaining of political power, the Underground Railroad, the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, all were directly influenced by Freemasons. Moving up in time, a subject that people love.
And that's a coincidence?
Wall Street. Now, don't get me wrong. What happened to them was a tragedy, but you should know that Prince Hall Freemasonry was very strong there in Oklahoma. You cannot leave this out of the conversation when speaking of the Black experience in America. In his book, A History of Freemasonry Among Negroes in America, Harry E. Davis records that Black Freemasonry during the slavery to freedom age took a very high interest in three institutions: the church, slavery, and education.
Of course.
He writes, in 1807, there were about 1,500 colored people in Washington, 1/3 of whom were free. A small group of these free men established a school and later became the founders of the first Masonic Lodge. They also organized a beneficial society under whose benevolent guise they operated a station of the Underground Railroad. In 1823, a few of these men were initiated in the colored lodges of Philadelphia, and in 1825, they were chartered into Social Lodge number 7.
Charter is a very important word that you all have to really gain the understanding of. What is a charter? There are charter schools, different forms of charters. What is a charter? Wikipedia is good for some things. Type in charter and read, please. You can afford it by a Black Law Dictionary. Read what a charter is. Very long definition. We all have to understand that that's what these a charter, same thing as your birth certificate. All a part of this financial institution. And they trying to act like they are not one and the same, but they're using trust law and try to make it seem like that's the ruling law of this land, and it is not.
You see, the Masons used the civil rights agenda with great skill to tie Black Americans in with the cause, and they used their organizations to promote integration within society and to squash those.
Trust law is contract law. It's not. It's just too much for this one video.
Like Marcus Garvey was. Through the early 1800s, slavery, the Civil War, Reconstruction and post-Reconstruction, Southern white supremacy, through all of that, Prince Hall Freemasonry spread and solidified. By the year 1900, there were either a Prince Hall Grand Lodge or a Charter Lodge operating in nearly every northern and southern state, in some western territories and states. By 1910, Prince Hall Freemasonry had created a national Grand Lodge. The state Grand Lodges were meeting annually, and work was being done to unify all of their rituals. During the post-Reconstruction era, the Black Masonic Lodge, along with the church and colleges, played a huge role in the subculture that went unheard and unseen by white America. Again, this was often happening through the same men who were operating the lodges, leading in the churches and colleges and other fraternal groups. You might see events happening in real time in your city or your town, but you don't know that there's a subtext. There's something going on beneath all this in their lodges, and it's all based off a narrative and a plan that they're orchestrating and controlling. Anyways, they created Black community life that revolved around meetings, social and political maneuvering for all members that belonged. They focused on integration and did this through a focus on economic strength by establishing retail stores, banks, hotels, newspapers, and insurance companies. These men, who sold out to the same oppressors who once enslaved them, now became our heroes, and over time became what we were striving to be like. They became the standard. Some of the main fraternal groups that were established, either before the Civil War or during and after Reconstruction, were the Oddfellows, Galilean Fishermen, Nazarites, Colored Knights of Pythias, Knights and Daughters of Tabor, Grand United Order of True Reformers, the Independent Order of Good Samaritans, the Improved Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks, the Royal Arch, and the Order of the Eastern Star.
And we are going to do a deep dive on all 10 of these organizations. Because what you're going to find out is that, in a nutshell, these are all just covenants of witches and warlocks. These are all covenants for witches and warlocks, and the subtext for these so-called organizations, there are cults embedded inside these organizations. So remember what I was talking about earlier, plausible deniability is for plausible deniability, but these cults are the ones that are really running the show. It's underneath this how do I word it? This facade that they put in front of our face, the Odd Fellows and all. These are cults that are underneath them. But again, this is what this channel is for. We're gonna expose it all. All of their deceit is about to come to light.
I figure I list them in case you have ever
Damn demons,
especially the Eastern Stars.
damned
All these groups
demons.
served as mutual aid and support organizations and allow blacks to exist in small worlds of their own. And along with the church, these groups produce community leaders and social circles. So imagine your grandparents going to meetings in the community and clapping and cheering for all this movement and change, but they had no idea that the people that they were clapping for sold them out. They were Masons and they had no idea about what it meant to be a Mason. They might even know that they were Masons, but they had no idea what it actually meant.
Yep.
To them, back in the time, it would have just been a club. You must understand, they gave the black community a sense of unity and independence. This is from those that were on the inside. And this is one way that we saw the separation of classes within the black community. We are always told that it's about education. Get a good education would bring success in this country. That's what we've been programmed to believe. But it actually had more to do with the organization we were attached to and who we knew. So there was always a big glass ceiling over us unless certain doors were opened. But because of these fraternal organizations, education and economic growth ushered in the visible black bourgeois class. The class of blacks that distinguished themselves from the other blacks because they were wealthy, educated, and connected. This is the boule. These pockets of Prince Hall Masons adopted the bougie attitude and selected their members based on their class in society, and some with the paper bag test. These lodges, societies, and fraternal groups help solidify.
And if you guys don't know what the paper bag test is, in order to prove that you was an Indian in the early 1900s, the U.S. government had a test in place, and it was basically this paper bag test. And if you were darker than a brown paper bag, then you could not call yourself a Native American Indian. So if you were my skin complexion and you were in fact a Native American Indian, the U.S. government used that as a test to say, "Oh, no, you weren't. No, you aren't." Yo, even though your grandmother's grandmother could have been from here, you know what I'm saying? And they can say, "Oh no, you were too black." We're telling black people that they are from Africa. So if you're a certain darkness, you're not from here anymore. That's what they tried to do to us, y'all. Like literally, that's what they are like still to this day trying to do to us. And this is why they trying to get us to believe that we're from Africa and getting us citizenship in Ghana and shit like that. Even though them Africans over there are still treating us like shit, and it's no better over there than it is for us over here. At least it's power and shit over here. And at least it's structures and shit over here that we've built, that they try to make us think that they built, that's been here for damn near centuries. And it's disgusting. They want us to believe that they built New York in less than 100 years. I want y'all to really think about all of those skyscrapers and buildings that are in New York City and really think about when cars were made. And y'all think that they built all of that shit in the last 100 years. I need y'all to think, let alone in New York, but everywhere else in the world, not even in the world, in the United States. They did all of this building, and I need y'all to use some common sense now. A lot of these structures been here. A lot of these things have been here. And they in order for this lie to make sense, to make them seem like they built something, created something, we have to disappear. And in a way we did, because we were a beautiful people that was from here, and indigenous people of this land. And now they are claiming everything that's here as their own. And they think it's going to continue when there's black niggas like me that know it. Oh, no.
Elite classes that are still
Oh, no. Oh, no.
The spirit of the separation made it necessary to copy the white universities, Greek letter fraternities, and sororities. And they later created their own, the Divine Nine.
Yeah.
You see, many of the founding members of the early Greek letter fraternities were also Masons. And many of the rituals from these black Greek letter organizations all have Masonic influences. And of course, most of the fraternities are still in existence today.
Yes,
It's like
they
they
are.
use them as a recruiting tools for the underground.
And the underground being Freemasonry, and then the underground of that is all of those sub things that they just showed you, all of those subsections of masonry, and then under that is cults. Under that is total witchcraft and paganist rituals that involve sacrifice of younglings that is not about to continue. In the name of the Most High God of Israel, it will not continue. It's not about to
Allow
continue.
them to tell you it's because of them why we have the freedoms and the acceptance in our society today. And it's probably true. Our way of life would not be what it was today without Prince Hall Freemasonry. And maybe we have people so tied to the system that they want to thank them. And again, this is how people are recruited. But if you actually look up at what is happening to our world and our families and our community and how far we as a people have moved away from the Most High, you can definitely see a great influence that needs to be highlighted and then avoided and marked. We should not want to assimilate with them at all.
At all.
Pray for them and remove ourselves from their influences.
Sir.
No longer accept their mindsets and their ways. When I look at the world through open eyes, not programmed by the matrix to see what they want me to see, I see men and women who sold out their God for acceptance in a demonic system that has
Exactly.
of enslavement.
Because that's all it is.
Sold out their people.
That's all it is.
Personal achievement. And
yes.
You must understand Freemasonry to understand just how sinister this all is.
Yeah.
In the end, even if you don't fully understand Freemasonry, you should understand that the world is not as gray as many would like to think.
Yeah, it's not.
Very much black and white.
Yes, it is.
Most of what we know today has been influenced by secret societies that have been moving the world in a direction actually fulfilling Bible prophecy.
Yep, that the world will go into total wickedness.
Do not love the world or the things in the world.
Sir.
If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
Sir.
All that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world is passing away, and the lust of it. But he who does the will of Elohim abides forever. 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 through 17. Or also, do not be conformed to this world.
Yeah.
Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Elohim. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And this is why Yahusha says, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other.
Amen.
Do not serve Elohim and Mammon. Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. And I can go on and on.
Yes, you can. Because that's what actually reading the Bible does.
Of us not being of the world. And what happened clearly is that after our bondage and enslavement, instead of clinging to the Most High and abiding fully in his word, we held on to men that directed our association and relationship with the Most High according to worldly thoughts and worldly principles.
When that book is about a singular family, our family, and we letting people who aren't a part of our family dictate how we worship our God, it's ridiculous. And it's some people out here claiming to be us. It's ridiculous. It's total mayhem, and it's not about to continue.
The agendas that serve the world and not our Father. Over time, we were so influenced by the world that the church is not even able to understand and identify with the nature of who we truly are. Our identity was stolen and hijacked by infiltrators who lost their soul to gain the world.
Yep.
And we have been following these men and women for centuries now. And we are now coming to the final fulfillment of all that was done behind the scenes for all these decades.
Yeah.
We are now seeing and identifying where all this is leading, and it's time for us to get off the train. This is why knowledge is power, and why knowledge has been kept from so many of us. But our Father is giving you a chance now before his time comes to choose him or this world. We are in Black History Month that has been happening for decades, but all of this Black history has been kept from you. I want you to think about this when you maybe try to rationalize things. Most people don't really know the world in front of them and how much control Satan has in their actual lives. In the Black community, if you don't recognize how much Freemasonry has steered our community, then you have not recognized how much influence the God of Freemasonry has had over you.
Right.
Now, in the end, it's up for you to choose if that continues or not. But at least this information has been made available to you. I thank our Father Yahuwah for the opportunity to share this information that has been pressing on my heart to bring back out as we move to this climatic point in history. But it's always in Yahuwah's timing, not mine.
Sir.
There's more to share, but in learning, foundations must be laid.
So we gonna end this video there. Again, make sure you guys go and subscribe to Truth Unedited. That brother is doing the Lord's work for real, for real. It's a couple parts of this. We gonna go into the whole series and really break this down so you guys can really grasp who these Masons are and what they are, you know what I'm saying, doing and behind closed doors, and who they believe in, who they getting their marching orders from. But you guys let me know down in the comment section, what knowledge do you guys know about the Masons? And if you're a Mason, you know what I'm saying, I'm willing to hear what y'all got to say too down in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? Let's start a conversation, because I know a lot of this knowledge is probably not known to even some Masons, even though a lot of it is. So we're gonna see who's gonna be truthful and who's gonna be deceivers down in the comment section. But if you guys like this video, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. We on the road to 500 subscribers. We like 80 away, so make sure you guys are subbing up and joining the kingdom. But with that being said, KingMarcell out. Peace.
Always alive, looking for the prize. That's eternal life, and bringing the change in my mind. I'm talking real peace of mind.